My name's Adam Nicholas Paul. I have a pseudonym, it's Ugovi. It's also the name that I publish under all my artwork and music and my book. And I'm going to do a little introduction read here from a script. If anyone believes it is or was about being a star, you can take all my stars and put them on the hood ornament of your inefficient car. This is no star march, this is a crucifixion procession, with a cross shaped like a T on the hoods of my motorcade. Did a bike trip in 2008, SF to LA in a month, some in AZ and New Mexico, iron wheels riding on the train, 2 months volunteering, New Orleans reconstruction. Went to Florida to find America's keys, they were with Hemingway. In DC, ready to march, a video proclamation on the mall, pop vote wins it all. If it didn't, I was marching on the mall. Not with a sign, but in line. Shoulder to shoulder, footsteps hit the ground, the only sound. Perhaps along with a swish, cush, swish, cush, because some citizens wore windbreakers, rain jackets, track suits, which love to accompany stepping sounds. Wrote a book about it all, gave it away for free, made t-shirts, made signs, sang songs, but never read a line. Many themes, one of them, Pop Vote Wins It All, published in 2012. Election year once more, Pop Vote rules or I'll roar and scream while I eat ice cream. 4 years on, 2016, please, please, Pop Vote wins it all. No matter the candidate, it's the principle, the principle, the principle. Oh no, tragedy befalls. Pop Vote doesn't win it all. The principle, Pop Vote wins it all. A principle I've held since the turn of the century, when Gore won it all. An embarrassment to democracy, even more so now. 2015, 2 more books to push the principle. Pop Vote wins it all. Written and published while living and teaching in Russia. Pop Vote wins it all. The ignorance of it all, how the best democracy in the world has progressively evolved, but is still greatly flawed because the popular vote doesn't win it all. All right, so that was a little introduction to the book that I originally published in 2012, and I updated with a second edition to the prelude and to the forward, but most of the guts stayed the same. Today I'll be reading from the first chapter, which I journaled through this whole 2008 bike journey trip. I journaled the whole way, and then I wrote a postscript reflection to those journal entries while teaching in Ethiopia. The whole book took me 4 years to write, and here's the beginning. Year's Eve, Haight Street walking, neighborly goodbyes, Golden Gate Park ride-through, Ocean Beach helmet on, riding on, San Francisco Bay oversea, goodbye atop freeway, riding on. Left the tip of the thumb today, a lovely place, but a much-needed departure. School's out, but the class of hard knocks remains in session. Traveling on 2 wheels under your own energy is great, but the 4-wheeled creatures definitely offered ease and haste to move from place to place on our vastly sculpted conduits of traversion. The views, vistas, sights, horizons were of only unspeakable proportion, heading south down the route of the one's way along the coast toward new horizons that have existed for ages, changing hastily for the seasons and slowly with time. Howling and blustering, the Halloween wind has been furious since the Devil's Slide was taken on in the crusade. Down the slide into McNee's Ranch Refuge, where a much-needed descanso begins for the night and the long journey ahead. So that was the first day that I actually left on New Year's Eve of 2008 out of San Francisco on this long bike trip after graduating from university at University of San Francisco. And then I wrote, there's a subscript number 1 at the end of each little journal entry, and then that means go back to the back of the book and read the narrative that I wrote to that journal entry to give you more description to maybe the abstract ideas or words that I wrote. So here's the first one that goes along with that journal entry. I took the route through Golden Gate Park, starting from the house, just north of the park's panhandle, into the park and out the other side to an Ocean Beach parking lot. Here I put on my helmet, deciding not to ride with one on while riding through the park, checking the gear on the extra cycle and tightening the straps before making the first move south on the Great American Expressway. I didn't know that I would end up on the expressway, but that's what happened. It was uphill too, and I started walking the bike, which gave me an amazing clear day view of the entire bay behind me. Thought of taking a picture, but my camera was packed away and I didn't really want to delay much. Getting to the top of the hill on the expressway, I began a fast descent looking to take the first exit that I could to find a more bike-friendly road. Before the next exit, a highway patrol squad car came by with his lights on and gave me a loudspeaker announcement to get off the highway. Whoops. I was able to venture a good amount before more south on friendlier roads, but when the only road to take past the Devil's Slide was without a shoulder, I stopped briefly at a surf and skate shop to see if there was a better route. Unfortunately, there wasn't. So I rode as much as I could before dismounting and walking the rest of the way up and then down the Devil's Slide. When I got to the pinnacle of the Devil's Slide, the wind was so strong I had to lean the heavy bike into it to continue. I managed to fall over once on the walk down the hill, walking on the cliff side. The bottom of the hill offered a little less wind, but it wasn't until I entered McNee Ranch State Park and took refuge under an evergreen that gave me shelter from the strong, blustery breeze. McNee Ranch wasn't open for campers, but it was the perfect secluded place to lay my head as the sun was setting. Since I would be up and out early, I didn't think I would encounter any trouble. And then after this segment, I have a section called Word Help with any words that are in that part, like Spanish words or other abstract words. In this case, I use descanso. Descanso in Spanish means rest. And that's included there. So this is the second edition of my book, which you can find on the website. You go, but you can buy it. My margins aren't really good on this right now because it's print on demand, but it's also for free. You can look at all the pages on that website. There's music, there's art. I just did some more, got some stand-up comedy as well. And if you like the work and you get something out of it in your busy time that you have to look at things like this, there's also a way to make donations if you want me to be more proactive in La Resistance. So, thank you for your attention, and I hope you have a good rest of your evening.